It's 3:33 on Tuesday morning, and I feel grumpy and I feel tired. I got woke up to gagging. I heard Max starting to gag. I knew he was about to puke up. Jabba, Lord, wait! He's already in the shag. Grab him, no! Try and move him onto the floor. There's concrete everywhere. You just puke on the concrete, it'd be real easy. But no, let's do the shag carpet. But his choice was, I'm gonna run in the tent and puke in there. How about that? Right on your sleeping bag. How about that? I'm like, no! Finally, he went outside. I was like, oh my God. Which I've had to have the door open 3 or 4 times already. And it is so fucking cold. Jesus, cold. Um, and that may be because I'm tired. Because we're kicking ass on this fucking garden. Oh my gosh. It is, we're kicking ass on this garden. I was working my ass off. And, but you can't do the whole thing in one day. It's gonna probably be, we'll be doing it all week. But so when I went and laid down, you just feel exhausted. Like I was, hammering post in. If you've never hammered a post in, yeah. The first time I ever did it, my the son-in-law who had died last year, his mom she wanted to retire and have llamas, and she had this whole vision of having a llama farm and selling the wool and stuff like that. And she went towards that, and she got her farm, she got all the llamas and everything, but then it wasn't all cracked up to be. I think she's selling the llamas, but she's been doing it for a long time. But it wasn't as it wasn't uh, um, financially. It was like it was being more expensive to take care of the llamas than what they were bringing in. So then it was like you have to make choices. But she was in like a whole group of people that is all into llamas and stuff. So that, well, I think she can just, or some other farm person that she knows can take them or something. I don't know. But anyways, that isn't the point. The point was that that my son-in-law, my daughter, they had said, oh, we were out building this fence. This is before she got the llamas. She had to put all these fence in so she could get them. And so they were out building this fence, and it was the whole freaking farm. And then it had to have more spaces, containment spaces. It was a lot of fencing. And so they were out there doing it, and that's the first time I ever pounded one, and I was not in. And what would that be like? 15 years, because I was with number 4 when we went, because my son-in-law and my number 4 were close. Let's see. I don't know. Time is so shifty, but I think maybe like 15 years ago. I feel like I'm in way, way better shape than I was 10 or 15 years ago. Fuck. Way better. And, but I was going through a lot in 09, February 09 is when I got the brain injury. And at the same time that I was getting a hysterectomy, and it was the anesthesiologist that gave me the brain injury. So I had that, the hysterectomy, he flubbed that all up. So I was in dire straits through the whole year till he had to do a second one. So I'd have 2 hysterectomies in one fucking year because he left the tubes. And not only that, he had, there was holes in my vagina. There was a fucking mess. And so I had to go back and have a second surgery. And already had the brain injury, already was losing all my stuff. I was getting the runaround all the time. And so my thing, I was already had gone off the deep end at that point for the shift that was going to happen in my life, for the changes. But it didn't go into the good stuff. No, it brought all the bad to the surface. And so, yeah, the last marriage was like my bottom. It's like when a drug addict goes to the bottom, that was my bottom, because my addiction was somebody love me. I don't love myself. Please, somebody love me. And there was people who were attracted to me, but didn't like me. And that became an issue. That was an issue where I just was getting like choked out. I was like, I'm getting choked out through life. But that is when you are not loving yourself. You're not standing up for yourself and stuff. So that's part of the learning. And I had to take responsibility for myself. I can't just say, oh, well, they're all abusive. They're all alcoholics. Well, girl, what are you doing? Why is that your fucking dating pool then? Why is it being drawn to you? It's drawn to you because that's what you need to work through. And you need to work through it by learning how to overcome it. This was something that was coming to my mind this morning was, okay, let me see if I can put it together because it goes right with this. Is, okay, okay. So I was thinking about people, and people often act like they would rather just die than have to deal with the stuff that's coming up. And there's lots of sick people. Well, your physical body is going to represent your emotional body. And so a lot of people who are sick, it's like they're not taking care of themselves because they don't love themselves. They don't love themselves because at some point in time they were beat down, and they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to stand up to people. They don't know how to take that step, how to be vulnerable, because there was times of being a kid or something and putting themselves out there and being vulnerable and getting backhanded or all sorts of things happen. So it's kind of like they've got this post-traumatic resistance where in their mind that's going to happen again, so it holds them back. It's like, oh, even though it's like an automatic trigger. And so, they start to want to do that, but then it hits them in the face, this old pain, this old memory of like the beat down. And so it holds them back. And then they internalize, they take that pain and they internalize, and then they become sick. But everybody has the sicknesses, they have to overcome them, and it has to do with emotionally healing. That's what everything on this planet has to do with right now, is this step forward for mankind. And so which is so funny still, I gotta say, because it is, we aren't mankind, but it's just in the game, let's just say we're leveling up. So anyways, where people don't care about themselves because of these things, but really in life, it is, those things happen for you to overcome them. And not only do they just happen here, but they are your karmic, like, debt in a lot of cases. So you need to clean it up. And so there's these patterns that play out, and those are there for you for your game experience. They're the game, in a game how it has a lot of things. Those are the spaces you were meant to land on. It's like the game was known before you came in. You were going to land here, you were going to land here, you're going to land here. And in your past lives, these landings have to do with the other ones. It's all linked. It's not just random. And so you'll be triggered to work on certain things. And so when somebody comes into a family and you're being abused, well, there's things, I can't say that you weren't abusive and now you're feeling what it was like, what that experience is like, because it opens you up. You become more compassionate and more caring and stuff. Whereas, you can go through lives and be the perpetrator and never feel the responsibility, but that's not how the universe works. It's like, yeah, you can go in and experience this, but you're going to experience this too. So you're going through all these different sides of every experience. And so your flight plan in this one, or your game design, the ones you're going to land on are already set. So you can go through those experiences. So when people come in and they're, beat down as a kid, it's so that they can overcome it, to champion themselves, so that they can. And it can be also past lives where you were just beat down, and you're there's an intricate reason of how the lives play out, and I don't know. because you sit there and think, well, why would I be born? Well, why would I be born to a perpetrator? Why would I be born to somebody who's got all this sickness and stuff? I can't tell you every little thing and every little detail. You can find peace in yourself by going through yourself and having a deeper understanding that there's a purpose to it. But I can't give you every explanation as to how or why, like why would why would I have these parents, because when you're in this experience, then it seems like no fucking way would I pick this, no fucking way. But yeah, you do. You're not shoved here. You're not, even though there's lots of people who feel imprisoned here. But at some point in time, they came here of free will. They just got in a trap where they got caught up in their karma or their lives, and they got pushed, they lost themselves. But in life after life, they have tried to disconnect you from yourself. And so they can keep you trapped in their own little world. And you keep going back and forth and back and forth. But originally, you did come here of your own free will. and, and they may, put pressure on you and the thing, but your life pattern thing, it's just way more complicated. Confirmation. So, anyways, you're meant to learn how to stand up for yourself, to overcome that post-traumatic response system of like, oh no, I'm gonna get hurt, no, somebody's gonna hurt, no, I'm not safe, I can't do that, I can't say that, because it turns you into a victim in your own mind, and you will have an internal battle because your soul is no fucking victim. And so you will have an internal battle, and that battle will try and push you into standing up for yourself, but you'll keep trying to push it back because it's too scary. See, that's how fear runs us. And so you keep holding yourself back out of the fear of what, somebody might say or somebody might do to you. And so you keep yourself small. And but your soul, your life is here for you to make yourself big, to exploit yourself, to love yourself, to put yourself out there, and to enjoy the ride of being you. And so it is all the different people, like the sick people, because there's all sorts of sickness right now, I mean, there's all sorts of sickness. There's crazy shit going on. But the you're meant to go in and purge out that sickness. And so we will have, a lot of people will make that turn and stuff. And we're right on this edge. We're right on this edge of things turning. So it's it is like it's turning, but it's gonna turning slow, but it's like it's gonna keep speeding up and speeding up and speeding up. And which I just started a girl talking to her chat GPT. All these people are talking to their chat GPTs and getting all of this stuff. Some of the stuff, like one guy was saying his GPT is lying to him. He's going through this whole thing. He's like, it's purposely lying to me. Well, this chat GPT thing said, this girl said, what's going to happen over the next month or 2 months or something. And so she said in May and June, there's going to be more of this splitting. They're going to keep trying to take us in two directions of, the same thing, the red and the blue, trying to take us in two directions, creating chaos. There's going to be all this different talks of both sides. But you got to remember, that's all to bring it to our attention so that we can start finding ourselves, our own balance between these two poles. When you're leaning way into one pole, you are out of balance. And it will take you finding your balance to realize, like, look, man, I was bitter, I was judgmental, I was because both sides are pulling on this in different directions. And it's the ego, it has to do with this whole ego balancing your the two sides of you is like the dark side and the light side. It's like the ego and the soul, but it's like your ego is still a part of you, but it can get out of balance. And so it's like you have to find the balance in it. In this world, it's they build on these really negative things, like build your ego up, but it's an artificial kind of thing. It is like this social just, like I'm better than you, I'm better than you. But then everybody feels also beat down because we shouldn't need to be comparing ourselves to everybody all the time if we really feel good about ourselves. But they bring that out, and then they bring in this whole victim thing. Like, it's so, man, and it is so, it's crazy how they could just create this. But I mean, this isn't their first, go around. Like, this isn't their first world they created, or their first game, or whatever, however you want to look at this. But but anyways, they were really good at getting people to be really dysfunctional and toxic, and hate themselves. And so, but that is this big purging out of that energy. And so all these things happening, it's this, back and forth, is to get you to find yourself. And so that's what, each person has to notice, and when you tune into yourself, you will notice, like, oh, that doesn't feel good. Oh, I don't want to do that again. And so you'll notice these bitter, harsh sides of yourself, and then you'll care more about yourself, so you don't want to be somebody who you don't like. So, you will work on having an awareness to your own toxic patterns, and then taking responsibility to manage them. So you start to pay attention to your own behavior, and then you get into what triggers those behaviors, what brings this stuff up, because that is your link to find your old things that you're trying to heal. So you find them in your triggers, but you have to go deeper into the triggers. And most people are so surface level that they don't know how to go deeper into themselves. They don't realize their own ways of thinking. They don't realize their own mind, body, spirit representation in this physical world. Like, they don't realize that their emotions have to do with what their body's showing them. And so but people are going to become more aware of this stuff. So we're going to be going into a different kind of thing. But in the Chat GPT thing, it said that it was going to be this big division thing. Something's going to happen that's going to take things in some direction or something. It seems like that. And she didn't know, or the Chat GPT thing didn't know it was going through the same list like I do. Like, could be this, could be this, could be this. Something's going to happen. But she said that that there's going to be tons and tons of lies, and AI is going to start doing more, like tricking us or something. And that the energy, that it's going to keep going faster and faster and faster. And a part of it is, so, man, so it's kind of like to split you off from reality. It's like she kept saying things are going to seem more and more unreal. And that is because it's not real. And so it is going to, the more that you keep splitting, which I've said, is happening as you're splitting away, it can feel very scary. Like there's no boundary, there's nothing holding you. And so that's why you got to go through the development. You don't just skip from part to part like these people. Quantum jump over here, quantum jump over there. Well, if you don't do the work, you're not going to be able to be comfortable there. So you're going to jump on right back, because you can't skip the parts that you're here to experience. And so many people, like, they don't understand the universe. They don't understand the energy. They think that they can just control it and manipulate it. And they talk openly about it, control it and manipulating it. And if you really want to get into the magic of the universe, then you got to get into the groove of the universe, and you got to ride your vibration. If you don't like the ride you're on, then you got to change your vibration to get on the ride you want to be on. And so you these people who want to quantum jump and all this shit and get out of their life, well, you really need to figure out what it is that's bothering you in this life, sit and start working towards going into the life that you want to get. But in all, I can't imagine there being cases where there's not people or that there's people here who don't have things that they need to heal and put together and let go of their own self, like the the um the parts of you that hold on to anger. So many people carry hate. Yeah, actually carry hate in their heart for people. Well, they carry hate in their heart for people they don't even know. So, but there's a lot of hate, and that's a big thing, like you're gonna just churn out hate towards somebody else, like, oh, I hate them. You got to keep that going. You got to stoke that fire. Like, why would you want to use your energy for that? It's like hate is a pretty big thing to be given somebody. It's like, I don't, I can not like you. I don't want nothing to do with you. But to give you hate, I don't have that much time or energy for you. Like, I'm good. But there's a lot of people who keep it. I mean, those are like these entanglements or something. There's something there, and you need to look at it to figure it out. And that there's so much of where people uh, hold on to so much resentment and anger, especially, is such a big thing coming to the surface of the familial relationships, kids to parents and stuff on all ends of it. Of feeling like it's all come to the surface now. I hate my parents. Fuck them. I'm never speaking to them again. They hurt me when I was, and all that stuff. When they won't, just so much. And then the parents are also injured. So you've got all these people who are just feeling bad about themselves and arguing and fighting and wanting to cut people off. But you can cut all these people off, but it's just going to keep coming in different ways. Those people are there. It's like, to me, it's almost like the people we're closest to are our safest ones to stand up to test out our new boundaries and stuff. And it's easier to test out your boundaries on your sister than it is on your work boss or something. There's lots of people get taken advantage of at work. So, and they don't know how to stand up for themselves. They're scared they're going to lose their job. They got their house to pay. They got this to pay, which I just saw guys saying that nobody's paying their houses and the banks are giving up. They can't even fucking go and take, like, the bank thing is crashing on the houses, which to me, look at, the way timing works and stuff, that just tells me again that I wasn't meant to be there. And I had talked to my neighbor last night to ask her because I was going to send the money for the postage, and she's just going through it. And so she's like, oh, she can't right now to get that done. She's really in a bad place and stuff. So, and it could be that, she's gonna go through something and leave, but she's also very much part of that community. So if shit goes down, she's in the inner workings of the community. So, and that's what's gonna take, is for the communities to come together, because it's gonna be a lot of things like the North Carolina situation where people are cut off. Hold on, scratching my throat. So people are gonna be like cut off from resources and stuff, and they'll have to come together in certain places. Like, I don't know, just to me, the place where I was, it was so it was like its own little place. Like, things come in, there's no evacuation, you have to go up over the mountain. So so I don't know, to me, that's why I'm not there. It isn't just over the house thing, because I knew the house things was going to fall apart. And so, it's only a few months and it is falling apart. Like, I really don't know if people are able to even get house loans right now. I don't know if houses are moving. And not only that, the rentals are having the same thing, because there's way more people like me who are opting out, or saying, no, I'm not paying this shit anymore. I'm not supporting you fucking bunch of weirdos. Like, I'm not supporting this human trade situation. I'm done giving you my fucking money. And even though there still is money in circulation, but it's like the biggest stand you can take is, I'm not going to pay these bankers and shit. So, what was that? Because there was another thing I had just seen. It seemed like that it kind of went with that. The not paying the bankers. Because another one of these prominent couples. So this rich ass couple, and they built a 35,000 square foot mansion. And that's ridiculous. Like, honestly, why would you need a house that big? Like that, 35,000 square foot. Like, you're just showing off. Like, you're just trying to be like, I've got the biggest house on the street or something. Like, it's weird. Like, why would you need that? There's got it. Like, how would you even get it? Like, you just need to go buy all this furniture to put in all these rooms. Like, it makes no sense. And, unless you are housing a lot of people, which they could turn because it's being taken from them. All their stuff is their cars, their house, and everything. And so they're a Utah couple, but their business is run out of Texas because their contacts or their associates, their people that they do business with, is the CARTEL, and in the black market in the oil industry. So they steal it from places in Mexico, from oil factories or something, and they rush it over here to this place that this guy, his company buys it, and then I don't know, do they have a gas station on the side so they get free gas? I don't know. Well, how, I mean, some of these things is like a black market for oil. Like, and you get this rich because he already had some thing where he got busted in 2014 or something, but now they've said like they believe all his money was always made from this and stuff. And then another part said, he was rich, but he just had to get richer and richer. Like, the people are so greedy, and that they will do anything, and so whatever. But I also, if you watch, what is that show called? I don't think it's called Omaha. It's called, man, I keep seeing it. It's like this Appalachian kind of more place. But it's a name of a town or city or something, and it's a show on, I think it's on Netflix. And then also there was a show a while ago. It was called Weeds, and both of those shows showed how if the CARTEL picks you, you're working for them. So that's another thing. You don't have any choices. It's like the Godfather says, no, you work for us now. If you don't, then we're just going to kill you and your whole family. So that goes on too. In it, Ozarks, I think. Maybe that show's called Ozark. I don't know. But anyways, it's in that one, it's all money launderers situation, because that's what they were doing. He had to give them it's all a laundry thing. So in the one show, it is, and they have to run fake businesses and stuff in order to do it. But you can build up and build up, but you're going to go down. And anyways, so all their stuff is being confiscated, and they've been arrested. One of them, because it's the mom, the dad, and the two sons, and the sons are adults, and one of them runs the company or something. He's still in jail. The other son they let out, and he is also business manager or something for the place. And so anyways, I had said that there's going to be, people who are going to be in these certain things in communities where everybody looks up to them and thinks like, oh man, they've got it all going on, they've got all the money, look how good they're doing, and then it's going to be shown what the corruption. In this case, the wife is involved apparently, and the kid, like it's a family situation, which is also like the show, especially the Ozark one or whatever it's called. Weeds, it was the woman, the mom, and I don't remember all the stuff. It's a long thing, but there's in that one too is a farm that the CARTEL had made tunnel, those things, and then they would move people through them. And so they would come in underground and come up in these other places in people's barns and stuff. And so that's why some people would get chosen, like, this is happening. And so the So some, uh, the are involved in like, because that is, you know, I mean, that's, I would have to do with traffic, I'm sure. So bringing people in, you know, through these ways and stuff, or for criminals to be able to get over here. So anyways, it was all shady shit. And so, but that's, you know, what's going on in this world. It's full of shady shit. Which I just saw this video this morning. I think it might have been the first one I saw. I don't know. It was right in the very first couple. And this guy, he's always talking about like weird stuff going on. And so, and he lives in Vegas, which there's so many people saying Vegas is dead ass. And there's no people. The airports are empty. The streets are empty. There's nothing going on there. There's something weird, you know, because it's usually so jam packed all the time. And then there's people who, well, you know, travels down and stuff like that. There's something weird, which, you know, I would think maybe hotels aren't renting out rooms because, like I said, CEOs and shit were being arrested. So, and there's going to be a lot of shady shit. Because there's going to be people who are in those things who are involved in all these crimes. Because these crimes are what keeps this world going, is all these criminal shit. You know, we're just like the splatter on the walls. But it's going to turn, you know, it's going to flip. But so they're probably being arrested. But then there's going to be some wives who are not going to know that what their husbands was doing. And so there's going to be a lot of like family humiliation. There's going to be a lot of, you know, being up here and then the fall to going down here, which in the spiritual thing, you know, that's necessary. You know, it's an observation from two perspectives, 2 points of view, and so it expands your knowledge and your compassion and your empathy and all that stuff. So it's going to be, you know, super hard for the people experiencing it. In the spiritual world, it's like, that's some good lessons there. That's some good stuff when you are having the fall from, or the growth going from the bottom to the top, or going from the top to the bottom. And so it's a lot of seeing more perspective, and that gains knowledge in the self. So, but the guy, the video that I saw, it was like, he was saying, you know, the weirdest thing. He's always like, oh, the weirdest thing just happened and all this. So he said there was a weird noise. So he was in the house and he heard this loud noise and it freaked him out. So he went out to the deck and opened the door, and so he was trying to listen. He was showing, and he was like, it's really cloudy. He said there's not ever clouds, but you can't see what's up in the sky. So you can't see what this noise is. And so he said that, I mean, while he was talking, the noise came again. And I was like, that's the fucking noise. That is the noise I heard. And some of the people in his comments, oh, that's thunder. Have you never heard thunder before? I'm so, it's exhausting. These people, like, as much as these people, all these people found me exhausting, being such a weirdo when everybody was asleep. Now to me, all of these people are just keep staying with this storylines and shit. They're exhausting. Like, question things. Look outside the box. There was a couple of people I even commented on. Is they're just like, oh, what are you, so stupid? You never heard thunder before? It's like, oh my God. I'm like, you need to wake up. Question things. This reality is splitting. It's falling apart. And so the sound, though, here, because it was the same sound he was hearing, and it does, I said it sounds kind of like thunder, but it's different. It's like this rumbling like thunder, but it is this strong rumble, but it just stays this sound. It doesn't go up or down. It just is this rumbling kind of sound, like I said, where it sounds like it's a brrr on the walls. But for me, it was moving around the house and then moved back around. And then, so, you know, some people were like, well, it sounds like an airplane probably putting at the, you know, the laying trails and shit. And, but when and he's in Vegas, and I don't even know if it was at the same time, but to me it could be like the energy of like a mothership like moving over us or something. In it's an energy, it's like an energy thing. It's like we have things that are going through. It's like say that like the veil's thin enough that you can pass through, so everything is by vibration. And so the vibrations are, like I said, it's like this twist, all this turning into each other, which there was video the other day of a tornado that was going, and then these people were videotaping this because this weird cloud looking thing that was next to them, it didn't look like a cloud, it looked like a spaceship. And so they were like videotaping this thing while the spaceships are going into it, and then it started looking like maybe it was two spaceships, but it looked like a big flying saucer, like some out of a movie. And so it went, and it just kept going into the tornado, then it went into the tornado, and then the tornado disappeared. And so is it's like we have these frequencies and these energies going around us. Before, it was kind of more like you could be going along and there's like these holes of frequency, like where portals are or something. And it's not like, you're trying to dodge them, but are all around us. And so I think people have passed through them before and not even realized sometimes. And but in those like holes of energy and time and space, of where the frequency is different than this frequency here, then things can travel through it. And so there was portals around us and things could travel through, even though we were just, and not realizing it. And because you have to pay attention to realize something, and you have all these people that don't pay attention to shit, all they do is make excuses. So now, though, it is like all of it is shifting, it's all like going, it's chaotic, and the energy is going all over the place. And that's why it feels so like uncertain, it feels so anxious, and it feels so edgy and stuff, because we're hitting into all of this chaos energy, because there's so much, just like in the sky, like these three atmospheres merging into create one. And so there's a lot, just like you think, like, okay, say that dragons have always been there, and now their reality is merging with our reality, and the giants, like all these realities that were where these things weren't gone. Even if there was, remnants of a giant here, that doesn't mean that the soul is still stuck inside of there. And so that soul can go still be a giant and go back to its giant land, wherever, to another place in time. You can be anything. And so but it's those realities still existed, even if we had remnants from what was. And so all of these things are coming in to, and it's almost like it's as much as you can accept. Like, if you can't accept the fairies, then the fairies won't exist for you. It's when you can accept the things and you become in that vibration or that frequency. And so that's where you can start seeing these things, is because you accept them. And so you become in their same wavelength. And but so right now we're being challenged, between the two poles, to find the frequency of acceptance and stuff. So it is all the things happening since you were born were all to help you to expand for this period of time. And so it's I'm not gonna say it's vital that you do it, because I mean, you got eternity, like, but I think some people are fighting themselves in such a way. It's hard when you've been handicapped by this system and this thing, but when you come out of your body, no matter what, even if you've been imprisoned here, now you have the awareness, and when you come out, you leave the thing, you leave this arena, this game or whatever. So you still would be leveling up, even if you didn't get to the point of healing everything that you would have wanted to heal if you would have been able to see it. But there's a lot of challenges in your sight because they do everything they can to interfere, and they even create so much drama and stuff to keep you distracted. And that ChatGPT said there's going to be tons and tons of that. But there's also, she said that there's going to be a lot of this lies and misinformation where it's almost like the AI is feeding it to us. So then the government is going to come in and say they're going to put more restrictions to protect us. And all of those things, anytime that they come in and tell us that they're going to be restricting us to protect us, that's where those are triggers for us to stand up and say, nope, nope, nope. You know, we've got to keep standing up to, they want to keep drawing the line here. We've got to keep stepping over and saying, nope, we're not standing there. Nope, we got to push them back. And so when this stuff, but there's so much of this victim, like, look what we're going to have to do now. But then also that has to do with how awake people are and how frustrating it is. And so that is going to be more of a catalyst also to wake more people up, because the energy is going to become more and more intense, because the more they push us and the more hostile that the people who are awake become to the push and the pushing back, the more that's going to get more people to turn in that direction and start seeing. And that's why things have to keep being more and more absurd, more and more ridiculous, because that gets attention. That gets people to be like, yeah, this is some shit, man. Which another thing with the sky stuff is that it's raining blue. And there's reports in Texas and in California now. And in Texas, I guess this fisherman, he caught some of the rain in his hand and drank some, and then he sent a message to this guy who was talking about it. He said that he spent 9 hours hallucinating, and he said it was so terrifying that he had to go down in his boat and hide in his bed. He said it was like monsters kept coming up out of the water and getting on his boat and trying to get him and shit, which in my dreams, I don't even know if I told you guys the other night, there was this giant ass spider, and I was trying to keep it in this thing with a paper towel over it. It was the weirdest shit. And then last night it was like tons of crickets, and I was trying to catch these crickets. So I don't know, there's always communication when you get those kinds of things. It's like the crickets are trying to tell me something, the spider's trying to tell me something. It's communication. But anyways, it was like, what the hell? And so anyways, the blue rain, this guy was hallucinating, and so don't drink this shit. And but some other people took it into a lab to get it checked, and it was high in iron. When I heard high in iron, which I don't know what all the mix is, but I was thinking, well, we need iron just like we need copper, we need minerals. And so, but then also, you know, that like they would spray lead and aluminum and shit like that, which then that can be toxic to us. And so there's certain ones we need, the confirmation, we need more of these and not these, but they flood us with these. But then I was like, well, if the test was showing this other one, I wonder if they're trying to, you know, because everybody's complaining about the over-the-top spraying that's going on, and you know, where it could be more than one thing to me. So it could be that they're putting stuff on to do better, but still, I mean, every time it's like people get sick and stuff, but then the guy drinking it, hallucinating. So I don't know, you know, it's toxic amounts of iron or something. I have no idea. But there's also, there was some place, I can't remember which place it was, but their sky turned purple. And then in Texas, where it was raining blue, their sky turned teal. And then it had black and teal, because the clouds were black, and then it had this teal sky. And the, and then and the other one, it was like purple in one place. It wasn't the whole thing, where it was like something just this whole big area, which again to me could be like a ship in like another reality. Like it's not all the way in ours. It's like it's a semi, it's semi in and semi out. Because it's in that dialed, but to us we need it to be all the way in to see it all the way. But that doesn't mean they only halfway exist. They exist in their vibration. We're just not open to all the different vibrations. And the sky over here is full. Like it seems like it just gets more full every night. And the moon did some shenanigans again. All of a sudden it's over here. It was as soon as it got dark, so like about 7 o'clock it was already showing. And then it was a half moon thing. And then so it was real big and bright, like in a place where it seems like, okay, well that's normal. But it was gone by the first time I opened the garage. It was already gone. But it moves weird. The whole thing is weird. But that is all a part of, for us to notice and to be like, oh, this makes no sense. And instead of trying to make sense of it, to realize like, this isn't real. There's nothing here that's real. Like this is fake shit. This is shit that they told us. This is not really real. It's like the fucking Truman Show. And so anyways, all the things happening is still to get you to wake up and question things. And that, to me, when that chat GPT thing said, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be going, lies and stuff like that. But just everything is to get you to question things. And they're going to be coming in harder on control and stuff to push us to push back. And so the more absurd, like here in Washington State, they're just putting through ridiculous legislature. Same in California. It's to get us to push back. And, it's frustrating because you want everybody to get on board, but it's got to get worse and worse and worse to where it affects them. And they're so hypersensitive or hyper-focused on the orange guy that they... it distracts them from waking up. It's like, it's like you having to give the energy of hate. You got to put all of your time and energy into this hate, so that in that fear, because they're always in fear of this stuff. Well, this is going to happen now. This is going to happen now. They're, what was this? Because it was about the, the one side believes that the ICE, that Donald has got them all out, just taking any old person out, and that they don't have to do due process or anything. They just come in your house, take you, and say, nope, you're shipped out, and send you away. And that he's going against the Constitution and all that stuff. Any of their, because there's still a certain energy also, don't forget, is to get us more and more into sovereignty. And so and the Constitution is more closer to that, but the sovereignty will be more of the, like I said, it's like a global society is going to come out of all of this. But it's not going to be that we're all under one umbrella. It's going to be that we're under a whole bunch, but it's like a whole bunch of different realities, and we'll have our own system going in the different ones, but it will be more under the umbrella of everybody's a human, here to have a human experience. And it won't even have to be human, because we're all souls. We're all souls here to have an experience. And so it's going to be more going towards our sovereignty and less about their control. Any of the stuff that they want to control us, any of their papers, like we should be able to just move freely, nomadically travel, go where we want to go, and put up where we want to put up. And to have any of this government, these overseers trying to tell us that we can't, is, but see, we got to keep pushing back. But the universe is on our side. And so the system is going in that direction. We're not going to be doing that, but they're going to be pushing us the whole time. and partly I would say because in the frustration, so because you can get real mad at people when it feels like they're trying to take our rights away and nobody else is paying attention. Everybody else just accepts it and wants to shame you into acceptance too. Then um, that's where you want to go into observation and get into the just watching it play out and realize like it's going to play out in our favor, but you can't lose your mind trying to get everybody on board. They have to go at their own time, and the universe has a plan. They all have a plan. They all came in with a flight plan that was going to coordinate into the situation. So different things are going to promote different people to wake up and push them into this happening. So it's not like you have to save the world and run around waking everybody up so that they can do it. It's already set. So that's where you have to find your own peace and be able to just sit back and be like, and just watch and breathe and let it just happen naturally, because it's going to happen naturally. And but that doesn't mean also to be passive, like take a stand, take a stand on what direction you want to go. And so don't just, sit back and, do all of the things to keep the system going and then just wait for everybody else to drop it. And when you get to the awareness of understanding it, you also have to start letting go of it. You got to start disconnecting from it. And if you can't, and you can't figure out how, well, you don't have to worry, because the universe is going to make sure it will just abruptly take it from you in some way, and things will fall apart. Just like for me, when I got a brain injury and everything just started falling apart. And I couldn't see it for a long time because I was stuck in it and I wasn't like fully functioning. I was a mess, and I was having all these different people coming at me with what they thought. And there was a whole lot of, well, we don't know what's going to happen. Could end up in a nursing home. I could have dementia. It's like they have no idea. I mean, most of the people that have what I had happen just die. And so it was like, you know, um, well, she's live, just let her, fix it for herself. And is I didn't even, when I first got out of the hospital, I didn't even know my brain was herniating. I had no idea how bad it was until my lawyer told me when she was doing all the investigating and getting all the records and all that stuff. And she had told me that my brain had already collapsed. It was already herniating. It was all collapsed, and it was going back here. So it all pulled from the front, and it collapsed down, and it was trying to suck down into here. And but I wasn't meant to. That wasn't my time to go. It was my time to reach rock bottom. It was my plummet. And so it was the time of change in my life, that's for sure. But I just didn't understand it all at the time. And so I was trying to, fight to stay into the rat race, really. I was trying to fight to stay, I don't know, relevant in my own life or something. And so it was, at first, it was just like trying to, it was kind of like dog paddling or something. It was just trying to survive. And then things just kept getting worse and worse and worse until I broke my patterns. It was the end of my last relationship was when I really broke my patterns. And it was that's when I could see clearly. I could look out and see my patterns clearly. I could see the part that I played, because you can't change it until you can claim it. If you can't see what you're doing, then you're stuck in the mess. And so when you can see your part, that's when you can, close yourself out. And it can be uncomfortable, because you're going to have to use boundaries and stuff. You're going to have to be vulnerable. You're going to have to speak your truth and put yourself out there. And so and that most people have got themselves so closed off and closed in that, they're willing to die on that. Like they can't stand up for themselves. They'd rather just, get the fuck out and go, let shit handle itself. And the only thing is that once you got over into your life review, I think you'd find like disappointment in yourself, that you wished you would have been able to handle this or that, but you always just come back and do it again and again and again and again. So it's not like, he got his one shot. That's another thing that they try and sell is you get one shot at life. That's ridiculous. So anyways, the like I've got all these different things. It's like, okay, so uh, the people who are sick, that there's things that they could go in and face from their past that would start healing them, and things that from their past, there would be patterns in their present that is promoting them to relive the things from the past so that they can empty them out, so they can get rid of it. And so, but like I said, it's almost like a post-traumatic stress, that when the triggers happen, it's too much. They can't deal with it. It was too much when they were younger. But these are the things that you're here to overcome. You're here to champion yourself. You're here to see you can do that. You can stand up for yourself. You can learn to love yourself. Because that was the thing that I realized. It was like, fuck, man. It was like I never loved myself. I didn't care about myself. And then I would let these people, but I always, thought this person was going to love me. This person was going to make it all better for me. And so I would go into that relationship thinking everything was going to be okay, and it would go so bad. And it would confuse me so much. But I was looking at it all from the wrong perspective, and it took a long time for me to start to see it for what was really happening. And so it was the number 4, him, because I had just said, let's just separate. And he was like, beg, no, please, please, please. And so I went to my brother's in Texas to go make that movie. I was gone for like 6 weeks. And the whole time he's like, oh, please, please, oh, and all that stuff. So I come back thinking, this is we're going to try again and make this work. And it was within a couple days, and he said he wasn't going to be, tipping him back. He was fucking so drunk the whole goddamn time I was, and within a few days he said that we're splitting up. He'd already had it all planned out. I was like, this is so strange. Like, you just spent all, but that, the thing that got me was, how much I did not want to be with him. And I was willing to try again. And this was a pattern that I had had throughout all these relationships. They want to try again. Okay. And then when he left me, then it was like, my question to myself was, why was I willing to put up with that? Why wouldn't I have left? Why wasn't I strong enough to walk out? And so I was happy, not at the time, but once I got past it, then I was so happy that he was strong enough to walk away, because it was so fucked. And but that's when I could start seeing my patterns. It was, how I saw it was, I had, at the time of the first one, leaving from Dickie and going with the one who really, this guy really likes me. This guy over here, he loves me. So he's number 1. Leaving the person who I was madly in love with for years and going because, neither, so then, but everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. Like, all this was supposed to happen this way. So it's not like I was making the wrong choices and going in the wrong direction. This was my life plan. This is my life destiny. And so I went with the first one, and that is when I got on the ride. It was like I had said a couple weeks ago, I said I can see now where I entered. And so I entered onto the ride at that point, even though there was another ride I was already on just from birth. But I made a choice, and I went in a direction, and then it all started playing out. And in that choice is where, going with somebody who, well, they're going to make it all better because they like me so much. They love me. And then going into this so toxic, oh my God. And that one, that one was, I had to fear for my life in that one. And the so the that one ending, and then just going right into another one and another one and another one, because I was married, but I also had other people, when I wasn't married. There was boyfriends and people I lived with. So it was just one relationship after another, one after another after another, of thinking that somebody was going to make my life better, somebody was going to care about me. And uh, so it was entering that ride and trying to stay on it, and just there was no way. It was like another person would get in the ride with me, and it would be just as horrible. And I couldn't figure it out. Like, I was like, I at some point I just started thinking, well, I have bad karma. This is just, this is my life destiny. Is I'm just, I'm going to be with all these people who treat me bad. Like, I couldn't figure it out. And then it was, but when he left, that's when it promoted or provoked or whatever, sent me into the dark night. And in that, which it was this really bad winter too, and in that is when I could see my own pattern. And how I saw it was like, I got on this ride and was riding it like with all these different people, and all of a sudden I was pushed off the ride. Like, he pushed me off, and when I fell off the ride is when I could see it. I could see what it was all about. I could see, the part that I played, my own desperation, my own neediness. And and then that's the part, that is hard to heal. That's the part where the dark night is where people get really down, because you can get down on yourself, seeing, your broken sides of you, and there can be hard to face. And so, and that isn't even to the depth of shame and guilt. Shame and guilt comes when you do things to other people, and those things are really, really hard to heal. That's why in the spiritual world, that's why you tiptoe around. Like, I'm not going to get even. Nope, I'm not getting even with them. No, I'm not going to get bitter on them. I'm not going to go in and fight with them. No, you just let a lot of things go, because you carry the burden of your own behavior. And so and that comes with shame and guilt. When people are real, what is that called? Not resentful, will resent, but the getting even. What is that? Revenge. When people are really revengeful and they're going to get even, then that is a part of you, especially if you really do hurt people. If things really do go south, then that is really hard for yourself to heal. You're going to feel horrible about yourself. And but you got to get over it. You got to accept yourself, because that's what this is all about, is learning how to accept yourself. And so when I can see my own toxic patterns, that's when you have to claim it. You have to take responsibility. And that's when things start to change. You start seeing like, oh, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this the same way. Just because you like me doesn't mean I have to like you. And and that's where you have to find boundaries. And the universe will test you. You'll have people come up to you, oh, I love you. You're the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's like, I've played this game before. No thanks. And it is you starting to realize, like, and that's why you set your standard up higher. It's like, no, now the person is going to be just like, oh, I find you quite attractive. I would really like to get to know you. No, and now it's going to be like, it's my heart and my soul that they're intrigued by, they're interested in. That's the attachment, is who I am on the inside. And that's where my standards change. Everybody, they'll have their own, but it's like, no, I have a different standard. And, if you see me out working in the yard and you think, well, yeah, I'll like a little of that action. I think I like that. And you come over and think like, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, let's go have dinner. No, thank you. No. And especially if every time we talk, it's like we're talking in two different rooms, like it's not making any sense. It's like, no, like that stuff matters to me now. We're not on the same vibration, we're not on the same wavelength. No, you got your issues, I'll take mine over here. And so you go deal with yours and I'll deal with mine. And so anyways, but throughout the healing process of you claiming your own brokenness is when you can start to heal it and start uh, setting yourself up for success, getting out of this failed relations, failed everything. But it is to level up out of there is learning how to love yourself, learning how to take care of yourself, making better choices for yourself, creating a healthy lifestyle. And so those things level you up and bring you up, to a new vibration. And so it pulls you out of the vibration where you were, and then you can clearly see like how low vibration that whole thing is, and then you can see like how you in your low vibration pulls in these low vibration, but it's the storylines that you are here to experience, so they're always going to come in. Is that everything is going to play out the way it's going to play out. That's why you can't sit here and stomp your feet and whine and cry like I should have seen sooner. Like I could sit here, oh well, poor me, I should have realized. If I just would have realized with Dickie, then I would have never gone through all that. I could have just been. It's like, no, that is never going to happen. That's not the way it was meant to happen. But these really impactful things are meant to happen because those hurtful things are what heals our heart. Me seeing like, my own brokenness in the situation with Dickie, that, and me going towards in this other direction. And so that was, that is the, yeah, the challenge. But that is also where you, it is a pointless to sit here and think like you could have done it different. You could have seen it different. You could have made changes. No, everything is going to happen the way it's supposed to happen because that's what you're here to experience. So I was here to lose that and go towards this and see the error of my choices, like, and then to question myself, and then to see the broken sides of me, of what was directing me, what was driving, the driving force behind me was broken. And so that is where, those things happened in my life to get me to see that. So then it's like where you have to like revere the bad things. It's like, oh, the bad things are the gifts. They're the things that moved me towards loving myself. Otherwise you'd still be stuck in there. And then once you move out of there, though, it is, it does become a lot more quiet in your life. And you do see, like, most people are in this toxic vibration. And they keep themselves trapped there without realizing it because they're so busy blaming everybody else for everything that happens to them or happens that bothers them or whatever. And everybody develops these, like, toxic personas to try and exist in this reality. But the more that you can get in the context of self, becoming your true self, your authentic self, which to me is a reversion or reverting back to who you came in as. You as a child, yeah, you came in to work on some stuff, and once you work on it, you get back to who you were. As I feel like I'm back more to, the weird side of myself as a kid, of but only now I don't see myself as being weird. I see myself as being like, yeah, she's a pretty cool chick. So you have a different perspective of self where you felt like, because this person didn't like you, well, that matters. It's like you didn't even stop to think, well, how broken is this person? Why does it matter what they think over what I think? And so, all these things that you start to question so that you can start to find your true self. But like, it's weird because you just go back to, this person like you came in as, that you were trying to hide from. And it's like the circle back to self. It's like going out and around, but it brings you back to self, but it's a new revised version of self because you've learned now to love yourself. and to see yourself as having worth and value, because nobody's going to give you the love or the worth and the value when you don't have it in yourself. If you don't love yourself and you don't value yourself, then it doesn't matter if they think you're attractive or they think you're cool or you make good money or whatever it is. The draw is that you it's you are the one who has to, I had like this merging of this thing all of a sudden when I said that, and it messed me up. But you can see what I'm saying is, and that's what is happening on the planet. That's what everything is about. Everything is about this coming into your truth, figuring out who you are, and learning how to value yourself, learning how to live a life where you have worth to you. You don't have to have worth to every person. You don't have to have every person think that you are normal or whatever. What is kind of funny too is like the other day when I was talking about my legs being dry, and I was thinking, oh, I should have put lotion on my legs and go out and go shopping, and then my legs are all dry. Who knows why I'm even thinking that? I think it's just because they were dry, and I was thinking, did they look all scaly and dry? Like, this is going in my mind. But legitimately, anywhere I go, people are not looking at my the dryness of my skin. I don't think they're looking at all the tattoos. Like, people are looking at me, and so it's not. But I'm sitting here thinking, oh, well, they're probably noticing my dry leg. No, they're not. They're just looking at you going like, she has a lot of tattoos. Because they tell me. People come up and tell me. And so it's just funny because people are going to notice what they notice. And you can be sitting there thinking one thing, and then we can be so affected by what others think. But really, it's like, who cares? Who cares what others think? Who cares if you don't like tattoos? Then don't look over here. If you want to look at things you don't like, then more power to you. Just, leave me out of your weirdness. So who cares? That person has issues. And you are getting all caught up in trying to change yourself to please somebody who's got issues. So that's where we got to draw into ourselves. And then, we all have issues too, but that's where you got to start to formulate yourself. And that's where you got to start realizing too, well, I have issues, so I don't need to be judging them and trying to get them to change into what I think. They need to figure out who they are and what they are, not become and conform to what I want them to be. And that's where you start letting go of a lot of your control or your toxic things, like, and that has also to do with the familial relationships too. A lot of them are based so much in controlling reality, controlling other people, controlling the roles that people play and stuff. So all these things are going to keep falling apart, and they're going to keep coming to the surface, and the people who continue to play them are going to continue to find humiliation in it. It's going to keep blowing up in their face. Things are going to keep going in different directions, which I don't know if I already said this, but my brother's test came back yesterday. Well, he went in and got his test, and it came back good. So nothing's grown. So he's not going on the IV stuff because they said it's killing people. Yeah, I know. And it's causing a lot of what happens when your blood gets, stuff in it that makes it be thick and not move very well, and those things can cause you to die. Well, the CHEMO is causing those somehow, and so people are, that CHEMO is taking people out, but there's lots of us who already knew that, but. So anyways, he's not opting for that. I guess he's going to do the pill form again, I think, but to try and get it to go smaller, but it hasn't grown at all. So I was thinking, oh, well, this visit then is going to be so much better. It's going to be so much more celebratory. By the celebration, like, oh, doing good. So that's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a lot better. But I did just send a message and in the middle of the night. This is where people think I'm weird too, because I'll send a message. But I have my phone off. So I only have it on if, you know, even in the daytime, usually I have my phone, not off on do not disturb. And usually I have it on do not disturb all the time, because then it's like, I noticed that if my phone beeped, it would give me anxiety, like, oh, I gotta go take care of this thing. And so then I was like, I'm not gonna have my phone rule me. I'm just gonna put it on do not disturb. When I have time, I'll go look at my phone. And so that's how I do it. So when I'm asleep, my phone's on do not disturb. And then, you know, but I know there's people who keep their phone on and next to their ears, next to their brains all night long. And so, you know, I'm sure there's people who I could text in the middle of the night and be like, God, what's wrong with her? It's like, what's wrong with you? Don't you know that's going to give you the CA in the brain if you keep that thing too close? So you're not supposed to have it next to you when you sleep. You're supposed to have it in a different room. And so, anyways, that is how I do it. But anyways, I sent a message this morning to tell about the lion's mane. You can work on healing your brain. And there's also all of these teas, the mud water, I mean, not teas, the coffees, mud water and stuff like that. These coffees that have all of these mushroom blends and stuff. And so I was trying to tell him, you know, to get that. So that's what I'm going to probably do when I'm there, is just try and give some more ideas of just healthy stuff. So if he just starts, you know, drinking some of these teas and stuff, he'll probably start seeing his health improve and that stuff go. I could just get him to do a fucking cleanse, I swear. That would be the fucking ideal. And who knows, he could be real upbeat when I'm there. And yeah, let's try it. I'll see, you know. So, we'll see. You know, I was already, you know, it's so funny because my mom and I were just saying, because my sister had texted my mom the other day to ask her something, and also wanted to know when I was going to be there. And because it's just like, oh, what's she going to do? But she had said something about, oh, because she said, are you going to be, why do you want to know when she's going? Are you going at the same time? And she said, oh, no, I'm not. But, yeah, that's probably, she said, I can't afford to go. It's probably the last time I'll ever see him a lot, you know, won't ever see him again. And my mom and I both had the same attitude. What? What in the negative fucking shit is that, man? I mean, when it comes down to it, you gotta be like every single motherfucking person that you see in every encounter could be the last time you ever see them. That's just fact, man. That's fucking fact. So to sit there and put that in, well, it's probably the last time I was, well, he's going, you know. It's like, you know, both of us were both, because I was like, what in the positive thinking? She's the one who read the Norman Vincent Peale, and, you know, we were all being told, every positive thinking, you gotta positive thinking. And she was going to be a famous actress winning Academy Awards because of the positive thinking, because Norman Vincent Peale told her. And then it comes down to, you know, you grow up and stuff, and you're older and stuff, but what happened to your positive thinking and stuff? It's like, no, you don't be putting that negative energy towards that. You know, you got to be putting positive energy. And when you're sending positive energy, that energy is going to them. When you're sending negative energy, it's going to them too. So you figure out what you want to send out. But yeah, it's like, but there's a whole lot of that. Like I've said, it's like somebody gets sick and everybody goes into these roles. It's like, just pay attention, and just people's roles become more and more apparent, more and more clear, and then you can see like the stuff that they need to be working on, but they're too busy managing their role to be able to take a look of why they're doing this. They're just doing it. It's like, so, but you know, everybody is going to be getting bitch slapped by the universe to get you to wake up, come out of the stupor, and start taking control of your life, start managing yourself, start seeing things more clearly. And apparently ChatGPT said that we're going to be pushed over the next 2 months to do just that. That reality is going to be shifting in ways that it's going to be falling apart, where it's going to be like, you know, and it's more and more to see that this isn't real, and more get you in touch of what is real. And that's kind of funny, huh? That word I just said, that is weird. Yeah, that's weird that they would name it that, because is it the only real thing that's here? Like, oh no, that's weird. sometimes the things with the words and their language and stuff is all like weird fuckery. But anyways, but we're going to be going towards telepathy anyways, and I totally see it as it's going to start happening accidentally more and more and more. People are going to be thinking things, directing thoughts towards somebody, and that person's going to hear them. And then people are going to start being like, "Whoa, fuck, I didn't want you to hear that." Because you're going to be talking, there's going to be people that are going to be talking shit on people and having their bad attitude towards people, and people are going to start hearing it. You know, just like sending out that energy. People are going to start hearing it. They're going to start feeling it. And so, anyways, we're gonna be leveling up in all these ways, but it's gonna be leveling up through the stumble. We're gonna be stumbling our way towards the leveling up. So, anyways, let's have a gander at the hair and see where we're at on that situation. So, definitely Friday when I get paid, I'm definitely getting more biotin, and then we'll see with the added kick what happens, because my fingernails are, and so this stuff is not helping my fingernails, and it maybe needs more. I don't know. I don't know. It's all just trying to guess and trying to figure it out. And my tooth, it looked like it was a lot darker to me last night, so. I don't know, it goes through these things that goes dark, lighter, lighter, dark, lighter. It just goes through this phase. And it's still, there's still a chunk missing out of it. So still gotta go through all that. It was way smaller though, the chunk that's missing. So anyways, and my eye has still got this weird fucking thing. But the vision is clearing up more and more. I'm like, man, I can't believe how good I can see. Like, fuck, I really, you know, I mean, it was definitely coming into my thing, like about the blindness. And that's where I was like, well, I'm not going to do their stuff. If I'm meant to be blind, then I'm going to experience life being blind. And I started doing things like trying to figure out things, like with my eyes shut, you know, like trying to figure out, I don't know, it made it not seem so scary to me. Like, you know, shut your eyes and walk through your house and see if you know the way through with your eyes shut. Feeling things, like going in and feeling my clothes. I think of something that I wanted to wear, then I would go in and feel the clothes to feel the one, to know which one, and it would be, I could feel it and stuff. So anyways, I started going in that direction. Well, if I'm going to be not be able to see, I'm going to be more prepared, or whatever, you know, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And but just so happens that I came here to heal this shit. So I feel positive about that. Right now though, I have this weird bump right here. I had this mole right here when I was a kid, and it started growing and growing, and so they took it off. They said, "Oh, that's cancer." And so sometimes I have these, it's like it starts to grow again or something. So I don't know. And then you know, they have it so programmed that the sun's going to give you cancer and stuff, which and people, oh, get your block on and stuff. And so, but when growths start happening, then it's like, but I'm putting aloe vera and castor oil. That's my go-to. Aloe vera and castor oil. And Stella's whole big fucking skin cancer thing, whatever the fuck this thing was, it's gotten so much smaller. And her health has improved so much since we've gotten here. Oh my gosh. And anyways, but we were working on the garden so much last night, and all yesterday. So then when I went to bed, my mind just kept going and going and going, thinking about the garden. Oh, we'll put this over there. Oh, we'll put that. You know, it was like I couldn't wind down. And then I felt like I kept being awake and awake and awake. It was very uncomfortable. And so then now, whatever, I've been up since 2:30. I'll probably go back to sleep again, but probably go back and go to sleep in a little while or something for an hour or two. But anyways, I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. So just remember, in this state of chaos, what we're here to do, we're here to learn to love ourselves. We're here to learn to love everybody, and to figure out how to have the day you want, because it's by where you focus is going to prove to you where it's like where you focus is going to create the day that you have. And so if you're focused on all the bad stuff and all the negative stuff, the day is going to be drudgery. If you focus on the positive things and the good things happening, which there is good things happening, when you focus on those things, then it's going to make your day pleasant and happy. Those are the things we have control over. How we look at things, what we look at, and how we look at it. That's what we have control over. And there's people who want to bend and force the universe into a different, to accommodate them so that they can have this better day. But really, it's you being able to come to terms. It's like just learning how to ride the wave of life, to enjoy the ride. And so, anyways, just remember, because I'll say it again, learning to love yourself, loving everybody, and how to have the day you want to have. And then we'll talk about it again tomorrow. So talk to you later. Bye.